Join the Spud Club if you've got an eye for farm potatoes.
Be the big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff. Not in the mood for cheese. Your excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine almond land.
So you're just hanging around the inn, are you? Waiting for what, exactly? All good? Well, that's... Oh! That way to us. Well, if I say it, I've got my eye on that.
I am a duke.
So you're just hanging around the inn, are you? Waiting for what, exactly?
Oh, thank you to leave me be, you old bat.
Oh, you think you can speak that way?
Ah, you with who? Tom? Doesn't ring a bell. Oh, hold on. Yes, of course, Tom. One of our most recent additions to the Fellowship. Brave kid, smart as a tack. He'll prove to be a Mendius. They call the
Come now, Alistair. Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Please do. Ha! The closest I've come to my match is when I linger over long while lighting my pipe.
Oh, careful now. Your head's grown more swollen than Saffron's, I dare say.
So you're just hanging around the inn, are you? Waiting for what, exactly?
Oh, thank you to leave me be, you old bat.
Oh, you think you can speak that way to a... Well, suffice to say it,
Never saw you in the king crab before. You're welcome to scratch me behind the ears if you like. I won't scratch back. I am Unsinkable Sam. At least that's what they call me around here. Used to be a ship's cat, but the clipper I was on sank, and I was the only one to wrestle himself free from the waves. The people here were kind and took me in, being the king crab's foremost patron ever since. A magnificent ship she was. Used to belong to a pirate, I was told. Unlike me, she didn't prove to be unsinkable, though. We hit the cliffs right neath the lighthouse. Not very apt a name for that building, I must say, for no light was shining from it. The moment I hit the water, I writhed around like I would on a hot tin roof. By some miracle, I managed to reach the beach, covered in kelp and smelling worse than a fish's funeral parlor. But I was alive, and that was more than anybody else could say. So I was. What friends I had. They drowned alongside the rats I used to hunt in the galley. And there I was, all alone. Not that I have it bad here, mind you. I've milk and fish aplenty. Most folks will pet me kindly, and when one of the village girls holds me tight against her ample bosom, I purr up a storm. But I do long for a companion of my own kind, and in that regard, there is no one like Maxine. By all means. People make a fuss about them because they endanger the lands around the city. They never bother me when I'm out for my monthly walk, though. But still, I do detest them. I mean, they're so unnatural, aren't they? Cats can have 9 lives, but humans are only entitled to 1. Ugh, don't mention orcs to me. Worse than dogs, that lot. Sank Walrus Willie's boat right from under him. Best anchovy fisher in the world he was. A loss to us all. Maxine, the mayor's darling pet. So gentle, so fair a feline. The grace of her whiskers, the subtle palette of dyes in her sable coat. She's one of a kind, that cat. She likes me. I know she does. But when I declare my love, she backs away. I don't know why. I had serenaded her and braved many a bucket of water for my efforts. But for some reason, she is not to be swayed. I think I'll sleep, but...
A source hunter? I'd like to report some dark magic. Only tainted hearts could tip as miserably as this lot. Been at the King Crab nearly 10 years now, personally. Seen every character you can imagine, from bums to wizards, passed through these doors for a pint and a place to rest. I think I'm one of the last folks to hear him alive. That awful scream's been ringing in my ears ever since. And with the room where it all happened still under quarantine, we've a constant reminder of exactly what happened. Though that's the question, isn't it? What exactly did happen? We all thought it was Esmeralda who checked into that room, and the Duke that followed her in. I was washing up and nudging the last of the lushes out of the door when a cloaked woman rushed in right past me. I never got a good look at her, damn my eyes, but I figured the way she disappeared that she was visiting one of the lodgers. Lucky for the perpetrators, I was rinsing bottles in the back when the terrible deed took place and saw nothing more. I'm not proud to say I ducked under the counter and damn well stayed there till I heard Ivad fling that door open. But I was paralysed with fright.
You've met your match once or twice.
Ha! The closest I've got to my match.
Red and orange, yellow and green, the finest veggies Sidefield ever seen.
Legion's greetings. I have been informed about your heroics on the beach. Were that I had been there to partake in the battle. But my duties lie here, sworn as I am to protect Lady Esmeralda from the rabble that would enforce summary justice on her, even though she is, until proven guilty, wholly innocent. I am Septimus, 7th son in a household of 9, legionnaires all. Me and 2 brothers of mine were assigned to Sicile from day 1. Alas, both of them have long since fallen in battle against the dead. But never shall I lose heart. Long as a single legionnaire stands, all of us remain undefeated in the eyes of the gods. So fair a lady I have seldom seen in all of Riverlon, my friend. And I have traveled more extensively than migratory birds do. She stands accused of murder, but in my mind, her presumed guilt is a fallacy, and indeed a fabrication. Steadfast will I guard her. Never will I waver unless absolute proof of her culpability should be brought before me. And I hold no such proof exists. Jake's murder is, in a word, a tragedy. He was well loved in all of Sicile. The Council of Seven couldn't have wished for a better ambassador. That he of all people should have braved the undead siege for so long, only to be felled by foul sorcery, is heartrending. And what questions are those? This place is practically a tomb, and these Sicilians are constantly crying for our attention. There's a zombie in my garden, an orc ate my baby. My sheep is gone, oh woe is me. It never ends. I'll be grateful when our reinforcements finally arrive. Don't even mention those rotten carcasses to me. They're the reason we've been stuck in this dead-end town for nigh on 2 bloody years. All fun and games in the beginning, but just you lose a couple of friends fighting those fiends. Get used to lousy rations and have but drink and dice for entertainment. And you'll soon come to realize that out of hundreds of cohorts the world round, yours drew the short straw.
Assure me, dear Septimus, that you haven't been fighting those awful orcs. I can't bear to imagine something would happen to you.
Oh, but don't you worry, lady. We Legionnaires are highly trained soldiers who fear neither orc nor demon.
Oh, but what if you were to be ambushed, caught unawares? Oh, catch me, for I might faint. Lords above, grant me patience. You're a source hunter, aren't you? Here because you think I killed my husband. How many times do I need to state and restate my complete innocence in the matter? I am Esmeralda, wife of Jake, and now, alas, his widow. Poor man. We were both so young when we married. He so rich and I so poor, but his one and only princess just the same.
Well, what do you want to know? Sicile. Now that's a sad story. Roofs of elegant homes burned for fuel, oaken cupboards emptied, and ladies dragging the dregs of their great skirts to bargain for fish bones.
They're nightmare incarnate, aren't they? Let a priest explain that to me. How we all supposedly become the gods' children in death, when in fact foul magic can bring us back and make us haunt our own kin in endless, mindless deviance. Like I told just about every Legionnaire in town, I don't know anything about poor Jake's murder. I want his killer found and tried, but everyone suspects me of this evil deed. And you're no different, are you? So what happened? Some of them tittle-tattling crab chasers down the pub call me a murderous gold digger and you believe them? These insinuations truly go beyond the pale. Oh, I think I'm getting one of my headaches.
Quite adamant about her innocence.
We'll need to look for evidence if we want to prove she actually did the evil deed.
Looking good.
dog worm. Brew and spice 'em.
Lonesome? Spiritless? Perhaps wrestling an earth elemental will inject some vim in you.
Not in the mood for cheese. No excuse is more holes than a slice of this fine golden land.
Whatever happened to that trooper?
So you're just hanging around the inn, are you?
Ah, hello. I suppose you're here to viciously interrogate me for information I don't have, like our noble Captain Aureus before you. I am the Duke of Ferrol, though I suppose my name is in the mouths of enough ruthless gossipers that you've heard of me by now. It's very tragic news. I won't posture and say that the Chancellor and I were anything near allies, but I truly never wish the man harm. Yes, she and I have a history. That's hardly a secret anymore. I quite doubt it was even a secret from Jake while he lived. As easy as it would be to pin suspicions on Esmeralda or I assure you that the affair was never so steamy and sordid as the busybodies around town make it out to be. Jake and Esmeralda had no great affection for each other. He had his interests, she had hers, and there was little passion left between them. Certainly not enough to fuel a murder.
A source hunter?
Back, demon! Back, or I'll... Well, what's this? Oh, Medora, you lummox. 1,000 pardons, comrade. This old bear's edgier than a dodecahedron these days. I'll tell you, it sure does me good to set eyes on another of our order. From Academy West, aren't you? Give Captain Wartruce my regards next time you see him. You wouldn't. I trained up in Academy North, after all. We don't cross paths with you Westies all that often, but it's always a pleasure when we do. Medora's the name. Retired, or so the Order keeps trying to tell me, but never out of commission. My hand to your cause and my sword at your side. Heavens hornets! That's quite a story, comrade. And come to think of it, one that might concern you. See, I'm here on, well, let's call it a loan from a town to the north of here. Hunter's Edge by name. There's been an attack there, comrade. Orcs. Not your run-of-the-mill savages either, but ones who've taken dark magic to new heights. What they want in Hunter's Edge, I can't say, but it's my responsibility to send them packing. Preferably with their horns in their suitcases and a knee-knocking fear of ever crossing paths with a sauce hunter again. I came south seeking the Legion's help, only to find it tied here in Sicil. They don't have a spare soldier to send northward, and even in my finest form, I can't clear the place of that many orcs without backup. By the skin of my teeth, comrade. The savages were rounding up villagers when one of them activated a tripwire on our village wizard's property. Fortunately for me, that particular wizard has a penchant for things that go boom in the night. I managed to wrench free of my captor's grip and flee toward the forest. He pursued me for miles, but I'd lost him before I made it into the Sicil hinterlands. Well, comrade, I hadn't thought of it till you tapped my shoulder just now. But perhaps that's where you come in. I need a contingent I can trust if I'm to take back the town. And the way I see it, you could use reinforcements here in town. I've been scouting Sicil for some time now, and I believe I've sussed out sufficient intel to help solve the murder of the Counselor. With our minds and swords in tandem, we'll make short work of the perpetrator. Oh, careful now.
More than I'd hoped, comrade. I don't know what in tarnation's gotten into the townsfolk here, but there's enough dark magic running roughshod to topple a small mountain.
There's Mayor Cecil's doings for one, and the mysteries of our master Thaleron for another. And on top of it all, the feline menace is lurking at every hearth and shadow. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the mayor's a decent sort, even if he can't hear farther than the tip of his own nose. But from what I've heard whispered around the docks, the old guy's gotten himself mixed up in something not quite on this side of the law. I suspect an illegal sauce artifact or substance is at the root of it, but exactly what or who's given it to him, I can't say. And since I haven't technically been assigned to Cecil, I don't have the authority to interrogate him. Fella seems like a humble doctor, but I bet my sword he's dealing in something darker than splints and tonics. A loose-lipped fishmonger let slip that she'd seen our good doctor scale the city wall on 2 separate occasions, well past midnight each time. What business could he have among the undead? Hardly the habit of an innocent healer, I'd say. You mean you don't already know, comrade? Their kind can see in the dark. It ain't natural. But it seems you've got all the help you need, haven't you? More's the pity. We could have beheaded 100 Source Yetis in the name of the Order.
Rawr! That is, how can I help you, my friend? Ask freely, my friend. He came to me when he called Jarrett. Jarrett is my master and my friend. I heard this was, but I have not found the face I seek. That mystery I watched the next morning. He was kidnapped, and I do not know the one called. Fine, my friend, but I will stay far away from this screech woman. Perhaps among the crowd.
The closest I've come to my match is when
So
I
you're
linger
just
over
hanging
long
around
while
the-
I am on the trail, Source Hunter.
I'll thank you to leave me.
I'll tell you, it sure does. Hunter's greetings. So, have you changed your mind about venturing forth? Shield to shield? You wouldn't. Medora's the name. Heavens, see, there's been what they want. I came south by the... I managed to wrench free of my captor's grip and flee toward more than... There's my... And on top of it all, the feel you... But from what I suspect, felt a loose... Hardly the habit... Well, comrade, I need a... I've been scouting Cecil. Well, you know the old expression. 2's a tea party, 3's an invasion. I know this place like the back of my hand by now. And the orcs up north will be short work for a trained-up trio of sauce hunters.
Another source hunter on the team will make us all the more formidable against this wicked magic. Welcome aboard, Medora.
That's the spirit. Listen closely now. Do you hear it? That's the sound of every orc and sorcerer in 100-mile radius shaking in his wee boots. Careful, comrade. I think I said, ask away, my friend, ask away. Always helps to know a thing or two about who's covering your back against the gnashing hordes, eh? More than I'd hoped, comrade. There's Mayor Seth, and on top of it all, the feline menace. It's no coincidence the Order retired me, or tried to anyhow, to such an aptly named little town. Way back when, the settlement was chartered as a stronghold for source hunters to keep watch over the borders of the Phantom Forest. Don't let the name fool you, though. These days, the forest is little more than a smattering of trees and ruins. A perfect posting for an old bull and her dotage like yours truly. In the days of old, though, the forest played host to source devils of every make and kind. Hunter's Edge was a settlement of source hunters tasked with watching over the border of the forest and putting down anything smacking a source that might creep out of it. By now, it's been centuries since anything more dangerous than a badger has come out of those woods. By and by, the source hunters moved out and regular folks set up shop. But the town's charter requires that at least one of our kind remain to keep the watch.
What have we here? A source hunter, is it? Well, my day just became rather more stimulating. Oh, stand still then, if you don't mind. I want to take a good long look at the so-called savior of Cecil. tall as an elf, strong as an orc. But your face... quite classical, isn't it? Statuesque, some might say. Yes, smooth and sturdy as marble, yet fine as a chisel's edge. And my word, what passion burns from your eyes. Please forgive my being forward, but I dare say, can it be? Well, you're exactly the person I've been searching for. I am Anna, jewel in the crown that is the fabulous 5. I've cut 1,000 throats, and baked 1,000 bread rolls, stolen the crown jewels of the Queen of Arata, and, with my pockets full, helped her reach enlightenment. When the day comes that I die, the gods will evacuate the heavens to make space for my formidable collection of designer slippers. I contain multitudes, you see, and I am utterly replete. Except that, much to my dismay, I had as yet to find the companion to whom my heart so clearly calls. But then, Source Hunter, you wandered into this tavern, and I am most certain that that companion is you. That I have. For nearly a lifetime, it seems. Well, I'm sure you must know what I mean. Like existence itself lacked a significant component. Like if you could only fill a certain void, could connect with the right body, the right spirit. Together you could uncover new and thrilling vistas. I believe I have found that component, that body, that spirit within you, Source Hunter. Come, if ever we are to be united, we must truly entwine. Yes, you must join the Fabulous 5 right away, as soon as time permits. Together, as a team, we'll explore the boundless realm before us. We'll uncover fate, inch by... Already refused to join? But, darling, didn't you... how can we... refused? Oh, a plague on both our houses. For now we may never link our destinies. Away from me now, oh perfect specimen. Torment me no further. But if you happen to meet more able-bodied, agile-minded adventurers, don't hesitate to, send them my way. A woman can only mourn for so long. My only one. Oh, why do you compound my misery by asking me to gaze again upon your perfection? Is it because you... Oh, who's that over there? Tall as an elf, strong as an orc. But his face, it's almost classical, isn't it? Oh, why do you come...
Sorry, I've run out of signed handkerchiefs. An Alistair keyring, maybe. In any case, make it quick. You're not the only fan who wants some of my time. What do you mean, not familiar? You expect me to believe you've never heard of Alistair the Almighty? Why, I'm only the most famous wizard this side of the Distis. Although, it'd be worth checking the other side too, just in case. And don't forget, I'm the most eminent member of the Fabulous 5 to boot. Surely you already know we've been voted the most influential adventurers guild by SideQuest Monthly. 3 years running. Your interest is piqued, I see. I'd suggest you have a chat with Mendius outside. He's in charge of recruitment and other such drudgery. A word of warning, though, we only accept the best and the brightest. By the looks of you, I'm not sure you'll make the cut. Those nasty beasts are hardly worth my time. Though I suppose I'll step in if none of the recruits manage to prove adept enough to handle a few... A troop of eager imbeciles we sent to the Northern Cave.
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things?
You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lining your pockets.
Ah, pointless chatter with strangers does so thrill me. How did you know? Please continue interrupting my drink if you'd be so kind. How curious of you to show interest in a lonesome stranger at the bar. Let me answer by saying that who I am is hardly any of your business. And anyone with an ounce of tact would have known that all. Can I tell you? I suppose I can. And I could. But why would I turn my attention away from this whiskey when Mendius right outside is simply panting with excitement about the whole affair?
Zimbladorix! That! Ha!
under my spell, aren't you? Yes, my enfriending charm never fails. Me? You mean you don't recognize me? Well, you must live under a very large, very heavy rock, for I'm the finest wizard in Rivenor. Yes, that is strange. Strange indeed. But it's a strange world we live in, isn't it? A strange and magical world, full of wonders and regionis regentum. Oh, you'll find out. You'll find out indeed. If I'm as good as they say I am. You'll have sprouted a pair of long purple ears in the next hour. Ah, how I do love a tasty aubergine in summertime. Abracazoo malefidem! Expect rain tonight, my friend. Oh, you...
Greetings, traveller, and may the Immaculate Conduit's myriad blessings comfort and cradle you. Tell me, have you yet heard the revelation? What's in a name, dear friend? For we all begin equal in the Conduit's eyes, and only through great deeds may enter into her inner ring. You mean you haven't heard? Oh! What fortune that I may share the goddess's salvation with one who has, as yet, been lost. Steel yourself, friend, for your mortal spirit could be forever transformed from this moment forth. The conduit, our link to the goddess herself, has given us a special gift, and the gift is thus. By following her instructions and becoming initiated into the one way, we can each of us live on for a span greater than the number of stars that twinkle within the goddess's right eye. She came from on high to we mortals and showed us the path to the goddess, where all living souls are naturally inclined. She showed us that injury and malady need not mark the end of life, but that through her methods we could ascend to greater life in service of the goddess. Ah, for this hallowed information, you must seek an immaculate chapel. Go north, friend, through the forest and into the town of Silverglen, where all may be revealed. There, among her followers and friends, dwells the goddess's ecstasy, her one way. Go on the path to the righteous, my friend. Forget not that the conduit has great plans for you. Glorious to see you once more, fair. Go on the path.
Hearty welcome to the King Crab Inn, and a pleasure to have you. You look like you could use a round or three, so what'll it be? Have a seat and stay a while. The name's Ivad. Pleased to make your acquaintance. I've been offering the weary travellers of Sicil drink and rest for nearly 2 decades now, but the King Crab's older than that by a long shot. All you see before you is the manifestation of my great-grandpappy Horatius Dungeness's noble vision. Beer and naps for everyone. No questions asked. Well, between you and me, things have been rather slow since the, incident. But with spirits high and liquor flowing like it is tonight, it seems the crab may just come out of that pinch. Psst. Mind if we keep our voices down over that sensitive subject? Death and dark magic ain't exactly great for business, you know.
Now, Alistair, surely
that room where it happened, it was rented to a certain woman. Though I regret to say I can't say exactly who. This inn isn't in the business of asking many questions, if you know what I mean. She came heavily cloaked, but paid the full sum in advance. I was used to such transactions after many similar concerning a certain Esmeralda. Figured this were just more at same. I saw one other figure go into the room that night. Someone tall, built broad like a man, but shrouded the same as she. Again, standard practice for Mrs. Counsellor and her visitors. I was startled awake by a horrendous hubbub shortly after midnight. I jumped up and grabbed me grandpappy's machete, bleary-eyed and awash in fright. By the time I burst into that room, it was horribly silent. There was only Jake on the floor, dead, surrounded by what may as well have been a battlefield. Whoever done it has escaped through the window. But I saw nary a soul when I looked out. You can bet I hightailed it to the Legion barracks faster than a jackrabbit after that. Councillor Jake, that poor man. I knew too much about his affairs, you know. Never figured it my business to say anything, but after all that's happened, I wonder if that weren't a grave mistake. Esmeralda's longest-standing lover has the audacity to remain lodged at this very inn, you know. He's called the Duke of Ferrol, a high title for a low man. If you haven't yet asked him about Esmeralda, I'd recommend it. 3 hopeless sailors. Truly wish I could help you, but I'm barely keeping afloat as it is.
Ancient and arcane secrets, the likes of which I doubt you can even
The hunters go stalking in the night. By the needles of the million bleeder, they'll end it all! End it all in blood!
About time the council took notice of us. You...
Never thought I'd see Seal in such dire straits. This here's one of the oldest cities in Rivellon.
Greetings, greetings. Oh, you are most welcome in my chamber. Customers rarely find me up here, but I do so abhor the hustle and bustle of the marketplace. That I am. I have spent more of my life on the road travelling alongside great caravans than I have in any given place in Rivellon. All of this earth is my home, for a few days or even but a few hours at a time, that is. You wouldn't believe some of the things I have seen. Oh yes, a city besieged by the dead isn't even remotely special to me. All the better that it isn't. For you and for me. Because outlandish events lead to outlandish wares. You have seen them, have you not? Is anything amiss? A punch-on, perhaps, yes. I have the blood of sorcerers in my veins, and between you and me, the blood of sorcerers too. The power of sorcery is so very alluring, you know. But let us change topics. For should hunters catch a whiff of my inclinations, they wouldn't hesitate to kill me where I stand.
The hunters go a-stalking.
You'd be derelict in your duties. Sorcery is like an incurable disease. If it's in her blood, all we can do is put her down.
Fine. Have it your way.
Gods have mercy. You're a source hunter. But I never really dabbled in sorcery. No. Stand...
The hunters...
You'd be derelict in your duties. Sorcery is like an incurable disease. If it's in her blood, all we can do is put her down.
Victoria!
One death may stop many deaths down the line. You know that.
Very well. Have it your way.
And neither am I. Be advised, though, not to give in to your inclinations. Other hunters may not be so forgiving.
God have mercy. I talked openly about sorcery in front of a source hunter. What a fool I am. Thank you, O compassionate soul that you are, to treat me so leniently. I never have and never will really dabble in sorcery. On that you have my word. On my life, I swear it. No need to worry, source hunter dearest. You'll find no...
The hunters go stalking in the night. By the needles of the million bleeder, they'll end it all! End it all in blood!
How gratifying to see you return. You are... That I am. You wouldn't believe. No need to worry.
Ah, you have come. Yes, that is most satisfactory. Begone, brittle mask of age. Hear me now repeat the words of Brittletooth, the child snatcher of Carador. Come, play with me, for I'm hungry. Come, play, play, play. My name is Eglandir Twil Selanar, elf of the house of Gandavum, the slaughtered house of Gandavum. But by the twin blades of the Shadow Vixen, I shall have my revenge. The walls of memory are stained with blood, and I would see them bloodier still. The game, yes! A game of blood and brutality, of death and dexterity. Fun as herring the horror harlequin. But, like the serpentine stalker hisses before the stab, hush now, darkness, darling, hush, hush, and listen to my tale. The elves of Gandavum, they lived in peace, oh yes, but one night, when the moon had hid her face, the orcs of the tribe of Kazuldagar beset our city. They cooked and ate and burned every last one of us. The light of dawn never saw an elf of Gandavum no more. All undone, every last one of us. Except for me, the midnight rambler, away from the city. I was very old back then already, though indeed I whisper of many years hence. But death shall not find me. Oh no, not until every beast of Kazuldagar has been bled. I may be frail, a withered grey, but the wealth of kings is mine. Countless assassins have ministered to the vengeance that is my want, and now is almost over. By Kala, Lady of the Last Gaze, I swear it is almost done. Only the very last one of the Kazuldagar still eludes me. the crowning kill that would seal its fate and mine alike. I have tracked her down by the curse of the spine spear I have. She does not know her ill-shapen sun is setting fast. Color the dusk red, O sword of youth. Bloody the day with the bramble sap that runs through the veins of Victoria. Bring me the amulet that clings to her flesh, soon to fade. And yours shall be the bounty of vindication. Mine shall be its sanguine satisfaction after long, long last. Yes, Victoria. She is the one whose heart must be held in hand, the heart around which the fingers of that hand must clench and tighten until its choking flesh bulges with blood and its beat slowly breaks. The orcs of Gazuldagar, they knew my name. Oh, yes. By the bite of the roving rattler, they knew my design. And so they sought to save their last, an infant, she who was to be queen. To no avail, oh no. Years, how many I know not. Years I searched, and now she has been found. Her name is that of a woman, her employment that of a civilized being. But by the fork of Barbara Man-Eater, she is nothing but an orc. A cyst of nature, one of a misbegotten litter dragged into life from the tumoured womb of a filthy, coarse-haired beast that was humped like a dog in the darkness of a stinking hollow. Victoria, librarian, daughter, adopted child of Cecil, Mayor of Sicile. There is bloodlust in you. I can feel it. Let it out. Set it free. Undo the last of the Kazuldagar. By the breasts of Sishara Goatsucker, give me my revenge!
That was quite the radical change we witnessed. I never would have thought that the benign old man we met outside would turn out to be a vengeance-driven aficionado of assassins. Indeed. Victoria probably doesn't even know about her past, and yet she's on a, let's call him eccentrics, hit list.
Here I wait for thee in the dark. But the stab, my name is... Yes, yes, Victor... Her name, Victoria. The hunters go stalking in the night. By the needles of the million bleeder, they'll end it all in blood.
Greetings, Source Hunter. I don't mean to hinder your investigation, but I can't open this door for anyone who hasn't received Captain Aureus' explicit approval. Not exactly the friendliest bloke, the Captain, is he? Well, your reward for getting your ear chewed off is a waltz through the town's finest magical murder scene. Enjoy.
Source was in play here, all right, but that doesn't solve the mystery.
Greetings. Not exact.
What happened? What happened? Is this a dream?
I don't think so. That stone, somehow it sent us flying into the stars.
Terrible, terrible, terrible! It will consume us all!
that lasts a billion words. What's this? 2 Rivalonians here? At the end of space and time? How very, very, very curious. Your guess is as good as mine, my newfound comrade. Here I stood upon this tiny vestige of space and time, and there you appeared. Quite good timing, by the by, because the ground here has been fast shrinking beneath my feet. Oh, but I suppose I should make a proper introduction. Zigzags the historian at your service. It is my job to record all that was and is and hopefully all that is to be. What am I doing here? Attempting to avert disaster, of course. Attempting to prevent all that is from disappearing. Tell me, friend, when I mentioned that this place is the end of time, did your heart quicken and your stomach drop? If not, they should have. Time ought to have no end at all. Indeed, I can think of no worse nightmare for a chronicler such as myself. But something totally, utterly terrible has happened. Show, don't tell, I always say. So go, peer through yonder looking lens and feast your soon-to-be terrified eyes on the darkness that is approaching.
Maybe quite mad.
Then we had better appease him and have a look through the looking lens.
Don't be coy. Have a look through the looking lens. That's what look... You looked. You saw. Terrifying, isn't... What's this? The portal. It's... The portal has become active! Fantastic! Astounding! Onward we should go! The portal! It's quite sprung to life, just like the long, dormant flames that decorate this observatory. After all my waiting and hoping, could it be you, dear stranger? You must be the key. Something about your presence here is causing the end of time to grow. The true end itself to move further away. Those torches, a light! This portal active once more. It cannot be coincidence. Goodness me, how right you are. There's so much to take in, I'd nearly forgotten. And what you saw has been haunting my mind since I first discovered it. It is the void itself. The dragon that is devouring creation. When I speak of the end of time, this is exactly what I mean. I can't say for sure where it came from, how or why, but I do know this. It's shrinking our future by the second. And if we don't stop it, it will devour the past and present as well. It's not that I believe, it's that I have seen. Long have I been waiting here, hoping that one day this very portal would ignite. Then, no longer than a few mere moments after you arrive, zap it goes. The chronicler of time knows a pattern when he sees one. Ah, though I cannot say for certain, if it is what I believe, then our prayers might well be answered. In fact, every last question that ever plagued your noggin might well be answered, for I believe what lies beyond this portal is nothing other than But why spoil the mystery? As soon as we leap through, we'll find out after you, after you. Oh, what wonders we may find on the other side. You first, but don't dilly-dally.
Spotted exactly who and what he'd hoped to find here.
Could it be, milady? The weaver of time? Mother of history? Author of all that has ever been?
Indeed, Sir Imp. As surely as you are he who chronicles all that I weave.
Astounding! Unbelievable! I have so many questions for you, so much to ask, so much to say.
You have brought guests, I see. Strange. Very strange guests.
My reaction exactly, milady. It was their arrival here at the end of time that instigated my finding you. But why? Surely you must know.
This is a question better put to our guests themselves. Tell us, how did you arrive upon this plane? A stone. So, it was a stone that caused the great shock of energy that brought you here, and it infused you with new life as well. Is that so? Not like this, no. What happened to you is unique in all my work. Never had I experienced something so contrary to my nature. To weave something I had not seen, had not expected. Life does not simply spring into existence, you see, but yours has. You appeared before me from the moment you came into contact with that stone. Starstone. I now know it to be called.
But, Madam Weaver, how is it possible? Do you not see all? Have you not woven all that is and could ever be into your tapestry?
Like the stones, your guests are a mystery to me. I see them before me in this world, but their likenesses appeared not upon my tapestry until they revived the stone. Source hunters. It would seem that yourselves and Starstone are inextricably linked. Why and how, I cannot say, but I do believe that finding more stones will reveal to me who you yourselves truly are. Starstone is not what it seems, Source Hunter. Its true nature must be part of a greater secret, a secret lost, even to me. Do you see what violence my work has suffered? What wounds lay upon the tapestry of time?
Mysteries of all time, gaps in history. Oh, how they've tormented me for eons.
It would appear that Starstone transforms at your touch, granting me new thread by which to mend the tapestry. Thus, it restores time itself.
I see. What the void would shrink, Starstone restores.
Yes, though I cannot explain why this Starstone is the antidote to the void's ravishment of our realm. If we do not restore time, if we do not discover the true nature of these stones, the void will consume us all. Indeed you must, though I may not yet understand why. It seems that you and you alone can unlock the powers within Starstone.
Yet we are not the only entities who know these stones to be so much more than pretty gems.
Why, of course, that's what they were doing. I have recorded their doings, you see. Collectors of Starstone, more and more by the day. Now I understand. They'd keep the stones from our reach. They'd prevent the mending of time.
Without these stones, Hunter, there will be no Rivellon. The entire tapestry will crumble. Even this plane will fall victim to the Void's insatiable hunger.
That shall never be, milady. As sure as Zix comes before Zax, we will put a stop to it. First we mend the tapestry, then we stop the void. Please, our most mysterious guest, are you ready? Are you willing? Will you hunt out the stones? Will you help us restore what has been lost?
Not a moment ago, we were hunting Source in Rivellon. And now we're being told that we alone can prevent the end of time by way of some magical stones. What do you make of it? Still, it's quite a leap from finding a strange stone to placing the world's salvation on our shoulders.
What'll it be, Source Hunter? Do tell.
Daemon Daemonium, and so let the...
The glint in your gaze and the set of your brow suggest to me that you've not given up on our dear old Rivellon. Not just yet. No, with you searching out Starstone, I believe we'll mend the tapestry in no time. We'll find out just who you are and how exactly to send the void back to wherever it came from. But you'll need a way to travel between Rivellon and this homestead, won't you? Who wouldn't want to see what fantastic changes your search will yield? And who knows what the Weaver might discover about you? Luckily, the power of portals is known to you, so I'll let you in on the little secret of how to transport back and forth from the end of time. Just, don't go sharing it around. Never know who we can trust these days. Off you go, then. You've Starstone to find, and I've a tapestry to examine. Surely there must be some clue here as to how on earth you're related to the end of time.
Cross my heart, hope to fade in the void, I honestly don't know. But ask her. If she claims it is so, perhaps she knows why.
Like the imp said to the ballista operator, shoot! Neither do I, but the mere fact that activated Starstone has set the Weaver of Time weaving again more than implies that it and the Void Dragon are natural enemies. This in turn more than implies that you are the Void's natural enemy, for it is you who is setting new events in motion. You who is handing the Weaver new threads. And that which she is weaving is more than an ornament to decorate the shelter plane. It is both history and future history. It is all of time. We may not understand the how yet, but our aim is clear. We shall save creation from the grip of the void. Now, isn't that a lovely mission? Oh, I don't know if I'm more than those things per se, but having been given a divine mission does have its perks. Old age can't touch me, that's one. Immortality is mine as long as no one skewers me with a sword, and even then I'll be back in a jiffy. But of course I have a price to pay for something that is priceless. It is my duty to record all of history, and an arduous task that is. Not to mention how much stress that void out there is causing me. The end of time. I'll be out of a job. So, gather those Starstones so that we may know the history that was lost. No, so that we must not repeat what leads us to this dangerous precipice, but do better and close the dark eye of the void forever. Lonesome, observing the frontier of creation, surfing the vibrant tide of the eons, always approaching yet never reaching shore. Lonesome, being privy to all that has been and all that is. Well, yes, actually. I don't mean to complain, but one certainly doesn't mind a bit of company now and then. Perhaps you can imagine the profound pleasure it is to have made the Weaver's acquaintance after all these years. I can hardly wait to pick her brain about the great battle of the Sons of Sigurd. The last Rivellonian who remembers it died more than 7,000 years ago. Wouldn't it just... Would that I had a Starstone sightseeing guide, but alas, such a booklet does not exist. Just like yourselves, Starstones are curiously absent from history, both in my writings and on the tapestry of time. From what I can gather, though, they were once cherished by devious sorcerers whose reign ended long ago. The stones are therefore most likely to be found in the ancient places of this world. Ruins, caves, the lairs of long-forgotten evils. Those are the dens you should frequent. 2 more pieces of advice. Don't go unarmed, and consult with my agent. Before you go, Source Hunter, a final word. Once you return to Rivellon, there will be someone waiting for you. My agent, my eyes and ears upon your world. I hope he'll be able to help you as much as he can. Time, I need hardly remind you, is of the essence.
How welcome you are upon this realm, our most honored guest. I hope you begin to find this place more familiar than it may yet seem. In the ethereal threads of eternity, do I record the deeds of gods and men, of beasts and spectral apparitions, the drift of continents through changing seas, the rise and fall of empires, the shift of every grain of sand on every beach, the fall of every raindrop on every world, the all but imperceptible touch of lovers' hands. This and all I chronicle without fault. Except, it seems, you ask and I shall answer, if I can. I am the Weaver of Time, as I have told you, though my existence is one that falls behind and yet far exceeds the verb to be. I am but what I am, and that is task. It is the same for the historian. Chroniclers both are we of the epics of eternity. Perhaps we are one and the same. Task multiplied by 2. Who has made us? I do not know. Why have they done so? I do not know. Am I the beginning? And am I to be the end? Who shall say? Perhaps I am the first thing in creation. Perhaps I am creation. Perhaps I am the creator. Or maybe it is you. You who makes dying stars rekindle. Time alone will tell. Alas, the answers to those questions still elude me. You and Starstone remain the imperfections upon the tapestry. As yet. A hidden answer lies behind this veil of inscrutability, though. For the link between you and the stones reveals that your destinies are intertwined. I believe that Starstones will not lead you to new places of wonder only. No. They will also lead to new knowledge through the restoration of the threads of old. Oh, Hunter, I have no need for company. Like I have no need for air or appetite or affection. All I need and all I am is time. And time is running out, unless you remedy its decline. And yet, I do enjoy your companionship, for you may prove to become the cure that will heal my slipping soul. Quite so. Your absence, it should be an impossibility, but no matter where I look, you cannot be found. I do not know you, which makes you my one perennial imperfection, a blind spot in the eye of time. But perchance I may be cured of this blindness. Perchance the blemish may be undone, and time can be redeemed. What it is but a seed bereft of sun and water. What it could be, that is what the star stones will tell us. What it is but the end. What it could be is the end of ends. I reside in another realm altogether. But ever since the end of time appeared in these deep dark skies, I materialized here, as if forced to watch the one thing that is unwatchable, unendurable. A thankless task that you may yet free me from forever. I think that perhaps you can redeem time, because you create time. Indeed, you have set in motion an event I no longer held possible. Know that no longer I did weave. I sat here at the end of time and watched on as the void frays the fabric of time like a terrified god that fears the offspring of his own creations. But suddenly there was you. You who stirred the life within the stones. These stones, children of stars, they place new ribbons along my fingers like phantoms out of time. New threads emerged, and I began to weave anew. Starstone gives me new strands to braid into the tapestry. And because you give Starstone energy, it seems that you are creating time. These Starstones, please, seek them so that time may yet be mended. Please, for the sake of all that lives and all that loves, seek them so that the void may yet devour itself alone.
A question has me stumped, milady. Why are there two of us? Two beings that record all of history parallel to one another?
That is a good question, Zigzags. One without a conclusive answer, though its resolution may lie in conception. Where you chronicle, I both chronicle and create. Where you arrive at conclusions, I spin origins besides.
I am the last chest, the last chest, the last chest! If you believe yourself worthy of rifling through my ample treasures, I do dare you to prove it! Find my four sisters, no more than one in each of the realms of your wide world, and each by each you'll discover...
Compassing Chronicles.
I am the last chest, the last...
Source Hunters, I welcome you once again to the realm of Rivellon after your travels through the chasms of space. Nice to have found a shelter, wouldn't you agree? Where you can come to no harm. I know the imp historian has told you about his agent on Rivellon, and that agent is I. So now that you know of the alliance between me and Sir Zigzax, let us turn, and I'll be delighted to give it. Dark webs are being woven around these parts, and it is my firm belief starstones are the flies the sorcerer spiders are trying to catch.
Gold and silver planets and square aspect suggest a struggle within.
It can therefore hardly be a coincidence that Councillor Jake was a collector of the stones we seek. His foul murder and the plight of dying time must somehow be interconnected. That means the task you have been given remains crucial. Find the assassin that did away with Jake, for you're bound to stumble upon Starstone along the way. While you were being lectured by our friend the historian and the Grande Dame of Time, I snuck into his house and had a look around. The advantage of being a cat, you know. You go where you please with impunity. And sometimes the lady of the house even rewards you with a slice of fresh herring. That's where I saw them in a cabinet. Mere slivers, but specks of starstones nonetheless. They lay there, silent and innocent, though bloody murder may have been committed in their name. Don't we all long for a sanctuary where our worldly troubles can be held at bay? A bed or a basket so snug it becomes, in a word, safety. But perhaps I speak only for myself, not for veterans such as yourselves that by necessity call any patch of ground they rest upon home. Like any cat worth its salt, though, I deeply cherish a secret refuge unbeknownst to anyone. To be able to repose without a care is such a precious circumstance, savored all too seldomly. Let me phrase it like Zigzax might. A universe without time is like a pen without ink, a pointless instrument stripped of the potential of creation. It is void. It is death. It is nothing. I'll not pretend to have all the answers, or that I understand all that is happening here and out there among the stars, but I do know I'd rather err on the side of caution. If Zigzax worries, I worry. We are talking about a creature, after all, that has reclined among the divines as nonchalantly as you and I laze beside the hearths of home. I met him first, a long time ago, out in the wastes of Youthful Gore. He wondered aloud what on earth a cat was doing out there in the scorching desert, then shared what little food and water he had with him. So I told him who I was and showed him my human form. He laughed and marveled and told me stories about his travels. In the end, he even shared his great sorrow with me. The unspeakable thing you saw through his looking lens. I was awed and frightened, but swore to help him in any way I could. As of now, that includes helping the two of you. Oh, before you go, here, take this teleporter pyramid. A handy toy indeed that Zigzax asked me to give to you. You'll need the other one too if you want to make use of its powers, but alas, I seem to have misplaced it. Don't worry, though. Use this one here, and it'll take you straight to its twin. Now that this matter has been settled, Hunters, I shall detain you no longer. But rest assured, I'll do my share of hunting, too. So if you spot a white cat during your travels, do stop to say hello.
Even smell the sea air over this rock. Unknown to all time, are you? Leave it to an imp to try to fill our minds with all manner of magical gobbledygook. I'll tell you who you are. Source Hunters, members of the most esteemed order in Rivellon. Here to find out and grind out every last speck of dark magic in the realm. There, the enigma is solved. are you? You think I'm... No, comrade. You can keep the honor of being the object of the Space Im's special interest all to yourself.
Tell it to mind its own business. No, there's that famous school.
I just hope this fancy of yours doesn't interfere with your real job, or have you forgotten that little detail already? You're a source hunter first, last, and always, comrade.
Ah, how intolerable it is to think that all the knowledge of the world is being gathered by an imp. A creature that is no more than the result of a demon's bowel movement imbued with the breath of life. And yet I am a tad jealous of that jabbering little jester. To know all. It is a consummation devoutly to be wished.
Sail, size, sail, shiver me timbers and sliver me heels.
You are not of the same minds, and therefore one another's weakness. We must be steadfast. We must be firm in our desires for knowledge and power if we are to overcome the foes that would suck the very souls from our fragile frames. Let us learn, Hunter, whether you like it or not, and through wisdom grow ever more mighty.
Slimy, reeking, rotting sea garbage. Plenty of fish in the sea, but I've got the foulest of the lot on my racks.
My gods! What is going on here? First I have to shoo away a creeping white tomcat, and now there's a perfect stranger in my bathroom. Get out, will you? Little mix-up indeed. I don't know what... No, if you please. This room is private. That's enough of that now. Little mix-up indeed. No, if you please. This room is private. Don't just stand there. Go!
Treasure!
Away with you!
Interesting devices, these pygmies among pyramids. They may be small of stature, but their potential is gigantic. Deceivingly clever. It is a trait all demonic machinations share. Yes, demonic. So very obvious to the trained eye. These apparatuses have been forged among the voids of the outer realms, where the light of stars does not reach. You do well to treat them with the utmost care. Perhaps it would even be for the best if you sling them into the reaches of infinity that surround the shelter plane. Better safe than sorry. It is an uncommonly trite thing to say, but it applies to all things demon-dreamt and devised. So I shall. Always remember, Hunter, always, that when demons are in play, you are the hunted, and that it takes stupendous cunning and strength to escape their snares. The very moment you are certain you have them in your grip, that is the moment their traps spring, and it is their grip that shatters your soul. Dueling with demons is like playing chess against an opponent with queens for pawns. They sit and grin, while your pieces slip in the sweaty fear that drops from your beleaguered brow. I assume you address me for good.
Paid a big change on your block for the whale of the good stuff.
Oh, you haven't left town yet, have you? Jolly good. Join me, why don't you, for a scandalously milky sort. I'm the... But of course, darling. Be my guest. Oh, my golly gumdrops, he did what? The nerve of the man. I knew he was hard of hearing and soft of wit, but this is a new low even for him. Oh, do calm down, Maxine. Compose yourself. Envision a calm ocean filled so plentifully with fish they positively flounder on the beach. There we are. Indignation has been dispelled. No longer do I care that booby of a mare called me the C word. A nervous twitch suddenly makes Maxine's whiskers wiggle. I don't care in the least. Oh, he's a darling old Tom, isn't he? Paws over tails in love with me, and who can blame him? The feeling's, well, it's rather mutual, actually. But that pet of a puss simply doesn't have a penny to his name. At the risk of sounding as shallow as a spaniel, I can't but admit my love does not come unconditionally. What if we were to have kittens, he and I? They'd jolly well starve, wouldn't they, with an alley cat for a papa? Oh, dear Sam, he's such a good old bean. But he does rather reside at the bottom of the scratching pole, doesn't he? And dear me, one must have at least a mite of standards. But of course, darling, be my guest.
Ah, cats. Such beauty, such grace they have. Magnificence incarnate.
Slinking charlatans, more like. I wouldn't trust a cat as far as I could throw it. And I'm a world league cat tosser.
Not in the mood for cheese. That excuse is more holes than a slice of this pie.
Watch out! I smell.
Come now, Alistair.
Stare.
Surely you've met your match once or twice.
Actually, I think that's only
The
Ruth.
closest I've got to my match is when I linger over long
Yes,
my
of course. This
Look
time.
careful now. Your head's growing more swollen than saffron's, I dare say.
Greetings, Source Hunter. I don't mean to hinder your... Ready to have another look?
Looking good. Official. The Duke of Ferrol is the worst poet in Rivellon.
In his defense, not much rhymes with murder.
And so we meet yet another adulterous harpy. No doubt she's guilty as sin.
Another? I don't know which Cecile you've been turned through, buddy, but this one ain't exactly an adulterous harpy nesting ground.
Was in play here, all right, but that doesn't solve the mystery.
I think it would be wise to inspect the Councillor's corpse and see what clues we can find.
They say he's privy to ancient and arcane secrets, the likes of which I don't.
I think I'll sleep by the... So there's the rub. I am but a stray, and she is the mayor's cat. Oh, I do understand her, I do. She wants a Tom of means, not privation. One who brings home the sardines and the occasional halibut. Would that I still had my collar. Such a marvel it was, as bejeweled as the night sky with precious stones, said to have once been worn by a far-off Maharaja's best hunting cheater.
Your head's growing all swollen in saffrons, I dare say.
Like the king of all cats I looked when I wore it. A gift bestowed upon me by a princess whom I had kept company during a long and perilous voyage. A precious band of gemstones, lost as I was tossed around by the waves like a ball in a game of catch. Among the waves it remains, I imagine. Won perhaps by a crab who fancies himself a Caesar with it. If only I could be the Caesar again, and Maxine my Caesarina.
That purring sound. Mind-control vibrations, I'm sure. Don't be seduced, comrades.
That cat is a miracle of creation. Don't you dare befoul it with your moronic delusions.
warm. Brew and spice 'em, stir and churn. Roddy, neither of you cares to plead for his very existence.
Those but if one were to reduce the quantity of skull dust by a percentage of 2, perhaps the stability could be increased by as much as 3-fold.
Oh, a source hunter. Imagine that. Quite a bit more petite than the last of your kind I encountered, aren't you? Yes, by nearly 20 centimeters of tibia, as my memory serves. But no matter. Even if it couldn't spare its heartiest specimen, I'm sure the Order sent the individual with the next highest probability of success. Huh? Me? Why, I'm more than a little surprised you haven't heard of me. Perhaps I can jog your memory. It was I who cured the Duchess of Arata of her unslakable thirst. A simple pinch of Atropa belladonna in her morning tea. I who discovered that aging itself can be halted by a single application of Cicuta Douglasii on the tongue. Not to mention that it's been my guidance that has permitted my apprentice Evelyn to make quite a name for herself around Sicile of late. Yes. If that's how we're referring to the secretive use of a revolutionary healing method she refuses to share with her own master. She's in the other room as we speak. Perhaps you can prevail upon her to offer a demonstration. She's gotten hold of a stone, supposedly capable of fantastic feats of healing, but she won't let me take the briefest look at it. But she claims to have gotten the relic from a little northern town, Silver Glen by name, and that an abbot there blessed it with the power to heal. Utter rubbish, I say. But with these blasted undead haunting the travel routes, I can hardly march up to Silver Glen to learn the truth myself. Sorry, but there isn't much work for sailors in a house of medicine. Unless one of them happens to have a secret stash of healing stones. Certainly, what would you like to know? The counsellor. Terrible loss, that. Though we were hardly more than acquaintances, I knew him to be a devoted civil servant. From what I can tell, it seems to be a simple case of jealousy turned violent. The affairs of his wife, Esmeralda, were hardly a secret, you know. I've applied myself to that problem for 2 years and still haven't come a step closer to solving it. I declare it an act of the Almighty's, if I believed in such things. Some events, Source Hunter, can be neither controlled nor understood by mere men. Well, she certainly possesses a critical eye and an exacting manner when it comes to making difficult medical decisions. I expect she'll be a very successful healer in her own right when the time comes. She is learning from the best, after all.
Healing stone. Interesting indeed.
Nothing sets me on edge like inexplicable magic.
That relic of Evelyn's the so-called healing crystal. I've seen one like it before, and by the Patriarch's pockets. It's a relic of source. One look at that gem will be enough to convince me it's no force of good, but a bloodstone through and through.
So?
I know I'm not the most, well, circumspect sort of source hunter, but in this case, I feel we ought to tread carefully. Bloodstone is so named for a reason, you see. What starts as a pretty gem is corrupted by 6 sorcerers who infuse it with the blood of the slain. If that stone is what I suspect, I wouldn't trust Sicile's so-called healers any more than I trust a pyromancer on a wooden boat.
Anybody?
Don't disturb Master Theliron now. He's been so busy with his research, the poor dear hasn't had a proper night's sleep in months.
I give milk. I give wool. And what do I get in return? One way or another, they always try to fleece me. Especially that Evelyn. She's out to get me. I know it.
Something interesting.
The earth here seems to have been freshly fertilized and aerated. Obviously, someone has taken great...
And a disgrace to whomever is maintaining this gravesite, too.
You step away from the grave.
I need a moment to reflect.
Your kindness is a great boon to our team.
If you think black sheep are weird, try weir sheep. Bah!
Careful, comrades. I've seen sorcerers infuse even lowly fowl with dark enchantments.
My Balberit spawns, you see sorcery in the clear blue sky, don't you?
Potions to bemuscle
I bet
you.
you'd scream havoc if I were to give you a mirror.
You.
Watch the undead quiver in their moldy boots.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the docks? Or have those infernal statues sent another soul flying to his death? This here's my family business. Yes, there's been a Roberts escorting stiffs into the next life since the foundation of Seal itself. They don't write epics about morticians, but I'm proud of my work nonetheless. Sad story, that. Though if I'm speaking plainly, the sentimental aspect of it all doesn't make much of an impression on an undertaker. Especially not these days, with so many laid low by the orcs and such like. I just concern myself with giving the remains a respectable exit from life. We set him to rest in the northern graveyard. Perhaps he can finally get a little peace. What about it? Didn't I just say we gave it a respectable send-off? Why are you giving me the 3rd degree? Now, if you don't mind, I'm trying to run a business here. I'd send you there.
Turn to glue when you've been naughty around here.
So, what's the... This here's my sad story. I just consider... What about...
Do I seem like the sort who concerns myself with such things? You'll be concerned enough when you realize that reward money won't be lying in your pocket.
Here lies Jacques,
So many
the
dead
oldest man in
civilians.
Sicyon.
It's an
Yet
honor
off
to
my
visit
grave
the
yet
fallen.
reckonings.
The fallen have no use for honors or visits. Their days have passed, ours have not. Let us not waste them on pointless ceremony.
Hey, wow! I was wondering where that awesome sweaty boot smell was coming from. And here you are. Wow! This is great! I'm Murphy, Jake's dog. Wow, you smell great! Have you been rolling around on dead things all day? That's my favourite hobby too. You know who I miss? Jake. Sometimes he'd just sit there being awesome. And I'd give him this look like, you smell great. And he'd give me this look like, you do too, Murphy. And he was my best friend. I came here so I could smell Jake again. He smelled great. But whatever's buried there doesn't smell like Jake at all. No, it's definitely not Jake. He was awesome. If I ever find out who killed Jake, the most awesome Jake who ever jaked, I'll bark so much. Seriously, so much. You have no idea.
Here lies Jake. Please do not disturb.
This dog we met, how true a creature he is. How loyal and unwavering in its affections. His master is dead, but not even this, not even nature's great betrayal of life, stops his warm-heartedness from beating. Animals, dog and deer, elk and eagle. We burden and butcher them, wretches that we are. These pillars of creation, we topple them, though their spirits are so very pure. They are. They do not scheme. They do not deceive. Perfidy. That is the human condition. This kind, this trusty beast. He is man's best friend, though man does not deserve one.
What are you doing?
May the Seven keep
Are you
you.
playing without me?
You are not of the same mind because you are human, all too human. And deep down you place trust in your fellows. But one day, a stab in the back will tell you I am right. I know. For I have lain on silken cushions in marble palaces, and I have lain on wet leaves in soggy forests. vastly do I prefer the latter. Oh, the occasional thorn may pierce your skin, but at least you are aware the sting is not that of a poisoned needle hidden by aspiring rivals. In the animal kingdom only, one is free. Beware the wolf, yes, beware the bear. But their rules are honest. The kingdoms of man, they are built upon the blood of the ones not strong enough to lay claim to power. This dog, it is a creature worthy of your affection. The ones you see around you, the men and women of this world, they are not.
I smell...
May the seven keep you.
Where are you, Jake? Are you playing without me?
Rest in peace, darling.
Jake, where are you? Are you here, Jake? Jake! Where are you, Jake? Are you playing without me?
Rest in peace, darling.
I smell... rotten lamb chops.
May the seven keep you.
Jake, where are you? Are you here, Jake? Jake!
May the
Where are
seven
you,
keep
Jake?
you.
Are you playing without me? Where are you, Jake? Are you playing without me?
May the seven keep you.
Where are you, Jake? Are you playing without me?
May the seven keep you.
I smell... rotten lamb chops. Where are you, Jake? Are you playing without me?
Rest in peace, darling.
That shovel has proven worth its weight, it seems. Oh, for the seven's sake. Those shining eyes are better fit for a puppy than a source hunter.
What trickery is this? That's not Jake.
It's a rotting sheep's corpse.
Rest in peace,
It seems
darling.
someone snatched Jake's body.
Now this is... rotten lamb chops. Wow, that dead sheep smells pretty great. I mean, wow. But it's nothing compared to Jake. Seems like some mutt is marking my territory. You know who I miss? Jake, I came here. Someone stole Jake. Jake stole my ball once, but then he threw it far, and I went and I got it. And Jake was awesome. Listen, if you go around town and find someone who you think might have done it, bring me a really stinky something of theirs. And I'll see if I can smell Jake on it. An awesome smell. I couldn't mistake it. Esmeralda? Ugh, terrible smell. Like flowers and soap. Not awesome. Ugh, hated her. Aureus is kind of awesome. Evelyn, too. They both have a sweaty, dead thingy smell. Cecil, he's all right, I guess. Mostly he smells like old books, which is neither awesome nor non-awesome. Bring me anything of theirs, and I'll be able to tell you if I can sniff out Jake's smell on them. Jake has the best smell. I'd know it anywhere. Did you find something for me to stick my nose into? If I ever find out who killed Jake, join you? No way. I mean, you smell pretty great. Even better than the dumpster behind the butcher's house. But the town is full of scary stuff like body snatchers and bathtubs. Without my best friend, the most awesome Jake ever, here to protect me, I'd rather stay far away. Just bring those smelly items to me here.
So, what's the bad news? More orcs rampaging through the dock? The sad story that I just concerned... A sheep? That's a whole heap of nonsense. Don't bother me with such wild tales. What's to find out? You can... Enough of that bloody... We'll have none of that, you hear? I suppose you're right. At least if I tell you myself, you'll hear the proper account of things. I buried that blasted sheep, but I swear on my lucky left foot I had nothing to do with that body disappearing. 1 minute it was on my slab, you see. I left the room for just a moment to answer the bell in the front parlour, and when I returned, the body was simply gone. In its place was a sack containing more gold coins than I could even count. The message was clear. Silence is golden. My business has been declining right alongside the rest of our blighted city. And that sack of gold was worth more than I made during one of the good years. I needed cash, and someone needed my silence. I knew I had to bury something or risk being found out. So that night, I stole into the market and made off with Bertia's fattest sheep. It was a bloody waste to stick so much fine meat into the ground to rot, but it had to be done. The next day, the pallbearers retrieved Jake's coffin, sealed to hide the body's terrible wounds, none the wiser that within the casket lay nothing more venerable than a slaughtered beast. Now, you can imagine I've spent more than my share of restless nights wondering who could have wanted that cadaver and for what purpose. I'm not an inch closer to imagining the why, but I've got a few inklings as to the who. Near as I can reckon, there are only 4 people who could have been involved. Mayor Cecil, Captain Aureus, Theleron's apprentice Evelyn, and Esmeralda. Plenty of us shopkeepers entrust the mayor with the spare keys to our businesses, you know. And he's the only person in town with a second copy of the key to the mortuary. He could have used it to sidle in without a peep, if he were so inclined. Aureus himself paid me a visit the night the body was delivered. Came rapping at my door in the frosty morning before the sun had even started peeping, and told me to tell him, and only him, if I noticed anything strange or suspicious about the remains. Can't see why he'd bothered to go through all that trouble, unless he knew something the rest of us don't. I know it sounds strange suspecting the doctor's apprentice of something so ghoulish as this, but there's few in this city could manage to transport a corpse without raising eyebrows. It was she who delivered Jake's body from the inn to the mortuary, and there was something about her that night, some kind of excitement. Seemed she could barely contain her thoughts, that there was something thrilling about to happen. I can't quite settle it in my mind how a young medical professional would have such a strange reaction to an occasion such as that. And this may or may not have anything to do with the whole rigmarole. But her master, Dr. Theleron, bought an old shack of mine, one overtaken by undead, for an exorbitant price considering what he was getting. I never did figure what he wanted it for, but he sure seemed eager. I never saw a widow less distraught at the death of her husband, and I've seen hundreds pass through my parlour. It was she who rang my bell just before the body was snatched, lured me outside claiming she needed air, before discussing the funeral arrangements. Some accomplice could have sneaked in and grabbed the remains while I was comforting the oh-so-overcome Esmeralda. That gold's the only good thing to come out of this blasted affair, and I certainly plan on making some use of it. You know, I reckon Bertia really didn't get a fair shake in all this, did she? Here, take the money and give it to her. Times are hard enough as they are. So, what's the bad news? I never imagined myself thanking some strangers for taking my money. But in the end, I reckon you were right. I couldn't well... Like I said, I'm sure as sin not the ghoul responsible for snatching that You there! Cut it out!
polite, handsome, and single.
You think that's funny, driver?
Sir, no, sir.
That's it, troops. Train up while you can. The next orcish strike could land at any moment.
You, again. I'm Captain... Oh, still not Have you found any incriminating evidence against her? If so, let's have it. It was stolen. Gods, what a fool that Roberts is. Taking a bribe in beleaguered old Sicil. Ah, what was he going to... He has a lot to answer for. But not as much as the one that did the bribing in the first place. Guess your mission is pretty clear, isn't it? Off you go to find this munificent body snatcher. Yes, it was stolen. Yes. Well, I assume it hasn't crawled back to its grave. Evelyn? Master Theliron's apprentice? Nice lass, huh? Brewed me a potion once that cured me of a rash more bothersome than a badger. You suspect the mayor? Dear me, you couldn't be further from the mark if you lay the blame on a paraplegic cow. The man raised a foundling orc out of the goodness of his heart. You dare stand here and accuse me of involvement in this sordid affair? You dare accuse a captain of the Legion? Get out! Ah! You, again. Oh, if you must. Hey, stop that!
on me private. Sir, no, sir. Attention! About face! To the barracks! March! Don't donate your time to that charlatan! You there? You look like an activist waiting for you. With a wheel of the good stuff.
What? Oh, it's you. What news? My elf? Oh, myself. I am Cecil. What would you like to discuss? Jake, most of the town's, as you can imagine, I'm an all right bloke, apart from all this Esmeralda nonsense. What? What would you like to know? His name is Conrad. The staff itself contains... Well, Oh, this is nonsense. That depends. Please yourself. Let me know if you change your mind. No. All my clothes are in fine condition, thanks. I've been going to the same Maxine. I've always been more fond of cats, my dear girl. My darling adopted daughter. My pride and joy. I introduced her to my library when she was a girl. She quickly proved that the preconceptions we humans hold of orcs as savage beasts are patently false. If you're looking for something special, just ask. She knows every book by heart. Papa's smart little cookie. Jake, murdered, you say? Oh, yes, of course. Now I remember. Well, I'm sure the facts will prove me innocent. Keep invested. Someone wants to see Victoria dead? That cherub of the book? That seraph of the library? Outrageous! Hear you me. You must stop that dog by any means necessary. As mayor of Sicil, you have my permission to take drastic measures if need be.
I knew that dark-dealing old man dabbled in sorcery. To the gallows, I say.
He's not a sorcerer, merely a simpleton. And if you'd hang each man for being a fool, there'd be not enough rope in the world to go around.
Fancy that. A source hunter barging in when the lady of the house is fully dressed. Who could have fathomed such a thing?
Anybody? Neither of you cares to plead for his very existence? Excuse me? This is a private sick room. Who in the name of the Seven do you think you are, barging in here? Out, I say, right this instant. I'm sorry. It's this task. I'm just... Who am I to meddle with life and death this way? I'm an apprentice of the healing arts. Healing. But this decision feels like precisely the opposite. I have but one healing stone, you see, and 2 direly wounded men who need it. I've been racking my brain trying to decide on the best method to settle this grave situation. But perhaps it's better off in the hands of an esteemed source hunter. Surely you are more accustomed to weighing life and death than I. What would you like to know? One of the brave few willing to traverse the trade routes plagued by the undead. A young man, but excellent in matters of business, before he fell victim to an orcish club in the north, that is. Thankfully for him, a cattle trader found him, nearly dead, but not quite so, and brought him here straight away. Quite the venerable staple of Sicile, Stephen, and recently blessed with his 3rd grandchild. He was leading a crew of builders when a stray beam struck him in the temple, and only a few days shy of his last day of work before retirement, no less. Nearly everyone in Sicile is familiar with grinning Stephen, and, as you can imagine, he's quite dear to his family. Yes, a curious relic indeed. I got it from a kindly abbot, Loic by name, in the northern town of Silver Glen. He is of a certain faith, the Immaculates, they call themselves, that espouses the belief that certain stones can heal wounded flesh. I myself was nothing if not skeptical of his claims, but something happened as he handed me the stone. A small cut on my finger instantly healed, leaving no trace of the wound. Needless to say, I was astounded, but it's strange. The stone is only good for a single use at a time before it reverts to a useless, inert state. It takes time to regain its magical properties, and I guard it cautiously. Is that so? Well, I handled the corpse myself, indeed, but I hardly knew the man in life. I was shocked when Ahu asked me to come to the crime scene, but Theliron had... I arrived at the inn, where the body lay just where it had fallen. The injuries were like nothing I'd ever seen. A single intricate laceration wove like lace around every inch of his skin. Neither a beginning nor an ending point were discernible. I personally delivered the corpse the short distance to the mortician's house. As far as I know, everything was, as far as a magical murder is concerned, quite normal. You are? I thank you a million times for your help. Who have you decided should receive the healing stone?
Yes. Boris deserves to experience all the pleasures of life that Stephen has already enjoyed.
Boris it is? Yes. I'll deliver the stone. I'm glad we'll get to save one man. My heart breaks for the other. No, this is highly unusual. What is this? It's lightning!
I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond grateful.
Thank you eternally for your help. Though your reaction to the healing stone, I have no idea. That strange reaction you caused. Blue lightning from a healing stone. I've never seen anything like it. And the stone looks different now, too. Like it's devoid of life. I begin to wonder if its magical properties survived your little reaction. I've been studying under Theliron for some time now, but that task, being asked to play the gods, was the first time I've ever questioned my, well, suitability for the work. I've a passion for this work, you see. A passion to see things put in order. From a flesh wound healed to an entire city made resistant to a fatal illness. What right has something as trivial as a wound or as senseless as an epidemic to take a human life?
Is there enough stones for both of
Ho
us?
hum! I don't want to ruin this particular batch of party elixir.
I'm feeling stronger already. 1,000 thanks to you, my hero. I promise I won't waste the life you... What will I do? What won't I do? Seeing how short life can be, how easily it can be taken from you. I'll see it all, do it all, and after I've climbed every mountain in Rivellon and smooched every girl who'll have me, I'll devote myself to learning the magic that saved me. Everyone deserves to feel the thrill of a renewed life. I'll see you around then. I'm liable to spring out of this bed at any minute.
Hey, stop that!
I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond grateful. I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend.
Can't say I didn't want to live. Wanted it with every fiber of my heart. Not just for my own sake, but for my family, you know. Oh, my Matilda. What'll my sweet Matilda do? Enjoy what remains of your life, will you? Never know when it'll be...
Tricks hardly make her work. Grave responsibilities.
I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond grateful. I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend.
Soon the corpses to life. Far.
I feel no pleasure in bidding you farewell, friend. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond grateful. I don't know what I did to deserve this, but I'm beyond grateful. Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us. Sorry, friend. I wish there were enough stones for both of us.
Mine can't have gotten far. To what do I owe the repeated pleasure, Source Hunter? Me? It was I who... Not to mention the... Yes. She's in the other room as we speak. She's gotten up... She claims to have gotten utter rubbish, I say. But sorry, but... well, she's certainly... I expect she'll be a very... The world belongs to the young, they say, and Boris will live to take his piece. Thank you for your help in the...
you ever had the fortune of challenging the fabled wizard of consciousness?
May the seven keep you.
I smell... Wow, that dead sheep smells pretty great. I mean, you know who I miss? I came someone's... Listen, if you go around town, and Esmeralda, Jake has the best smell. I'd know it anywhere. Did you find something for me to stick my nose into? Esmeralda, Jake has the best. Jake was awesome, and she didn't like Jake, so I'm pretty sure she's the worst thing that ever lived. Let me get a whiff. Oh, take this away. It smells like every rich man in town except Jake. No, to join you without my best.
May the seven keep you.
Welcome back, Source Hunters. I've been eagerly expecting you. You found another Starstone, haven't you? Go on, go on. Ask me how I know. Aha! Mere child's play when you know what to look for. And luckily, I do. Do you remember when you first arrived on this plane? When the dormant portal that led us to this hall sprang to life? It's happened again, my friend. Another portal has reignited. The end of time is growing by the stone. It's all connected somehow. You, this place, the void, the stones. Soon we'll have unraveled the whole truth. Oh, how I do love a good mystery. You don't imagine that I'd presume to explore it before you? No, 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 that would be most unmannerly. And not to mention, well, No, I'm sure it's nothing. It's just that beyond the portal, I sense a presence that I can't quite account for. It is at once powerful and faint. Perhaps only a shadow, perhaps more. But this is only speculation, of course. Come, come, let me show you the way. Once you're through, you'll be able to report exactly what we're dealing with.
Decent dugong, she nearly startled me out of my boots.
Through? Who knows what wonder awaits? I wonder who... I wonder who awaits you in the next chamber. I wonder what they'll say.
What an impressive room.
So it is. A hall fit for kings.
Deo kraime, foredua, leos ral edu, kraime.
You. It cannot be you. But it can only be you. The Guardians. Those I deceived. Those that deserted me. But oh, how weak you have become. As weak as you used to be strong. Look about you. You used to lead, and now you follow. Ignorant of your faults, and ignorant of your fate. That it has come to this. Woe to the world that it has come to this. He won't believe me,
the fiend. But they have come, as I prayed they would. Could they save me yet?
I am on the trail, Source Hunter.
Well, wouldn't you look fine with a strapping warrior at your side? Or is it mages you prefer? An eagle-eyed ranger? A stealthy pickpocket? Take your pick of my swords for hire. Of course, Chief. But maybe you ought to get rid of some of your old ones first. Never does well to sour one batch in sight of the other. Back again, and not a moment...
Who do you think that creature in there was?
I haven't the foggiest. But the eerie bit is that she seems to know us.
I wonder, do you know more about the Void? What it is? What lies at the heart of it?
What lies at its heart? Why, nothing, of course. The great absence of all that even the gods cannot comprehend. It eludes us, like infinity, or the finality of tick-tocking time.
Good to see you on the shelter, like the imp said to the ballista operator. Most certainly. Ah, yes, the Hall of Heroes. Once upon a time, great feasts were held there in honor of heroes graced by the gods themselves. In that room, mortals and immortals dined side by side. I can't think of a better place to gather new heroes, should you come across such rarities, so that when needed, they can serve you in your quest against the Void. Like you, she is a mystery. But she seems to know you, doesn't she? Perhaps you'll meet her again, and we'll learn more about her, and about you. Like the imp said to the ballista op...
How might I serve our mission? In the the drift. Accept, ask, and I shall answer, if I can. Threads I weave and take. The threads tell me that once, oh, how many eons lie hidden in so small a word. Once, you strode across that hall in shining armor, a sovereign to all who beheld your might. I can clearly read that armies you have led, demons and dragons you have conquered, that you have ascended. But how can this be now that you stand before me a human, a mortal? How far has your soul fled from the being it used to be? New threads, more threads we need. She is one whose history is shrouded in darkness. She is more than a woman, though less than a goddess. She knows you. You have wronged her. She is part of the end, though she longs to be part of endlessness.
Quiet day on the market, it seems. Quiet day on the market, it seems.
Toe of snake, wing of worm, brew and spice and stir and churn.
Quiet day on the market, it seems.
To what do I owe the repeated pleasure, Source Hunter? Certainly, what would you like to know?
It's locked.
What on earth would an undertaker want with the likes of Huggett?
son. Spiritless.
You think that's funny, Private? Sir, no, sir.
How can I help you, my... But certainly. What would you like to know? What? I'd never. If you must know, I was merely checking up on Maxine, the mayor's cat. What a delight she is. The temperament of a tiger, the grace of a leopard, and the manners by all means. Of course. I hope your investigation fares well. His body is gone, replaced with that of a sheep. This is all very disconcerting, to say the least. Grave robbery reeks of necromancy. Could Jake have been involved with those that seems too improbable to be true, but nevertheless, I can but they say, I say, it took a how and I myself. Now it may well be a step. I can't say much more, but that they're mad. And what might those be?
You hear?
Hey, stop that!
Sir, no, sir.
Attention! About face! To the barracks, nuts! Recruits, that was sloppier than Sicilian stew. Again!
Have some pity.
7, we've secured the perimeter.
Come on! Come on! Can't you? There's a stage calling
Sauce hunters, eh? If you've got a favourite sheep, best to fry her up now before she gets thieved in the night like me. That louse! Did he even bother grilling a single luscious chop? I bet he wasted every last morsel. Captain Aureus.
This is intolerable.
Snake,
The momentum of time is slipping through our hands, and you fritter it away on conversations about decomposing mutton. Focus. Focus.
Join the Spud Club if you've got an eye for farm potatoes.
Aaron has as many friends as the man with many cheeses.
Lonesome? Spiritless? Perhaps wrestling an earth elemental would inject something.
'Tis I, Reginald the Illusionist. Come on, I said, 'tis I.
Sorry, sir.
You think that's funny, Private?
Sir, no, sir.
Head honcho legionnaire. The sauce hunter says that creep Robert stole my sheep.
And?
Well, aren't you going to arrest that stinking thief?
I'll have a talk with him, madam. You, again. Do feel... if you must. I'm Captain Aureus, if you must know. Whom would you have the Legion arrest? If you must.
Attention! About face! You there! You look like an actor just waiting for his big debut!
Sauce hunters, eh? If you've got a favourite sheep, best throw in that hog in the grinder can hardly make up for the loss of me sweet, succulent hogget. But I admit, it softens the sting a bit. I'll buy myself a new lamb and have a fine veal supper in honour of me lost hoggy woggy.
Join the Spud Club if you've got an eye for farm potatoes.
Gold? How much exactly? Enough to cover the costs in gold and tears of a stolen ewe, I'd bet.
That's right. If anyone should benefit from this situation, it's Bertia.
Aye, nothing to replace me old girl Hoggett. But I suppose a bit of gold certain.
Lonesome, spiritless. Perhaps wrestling an earth elemental will inject some vim into your routine.
Let's see. Halibut, sheep's cheese, tomatoes.
Pay the big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
Let us see if you can choose the finest greens.
Pay the big cheese on your block with a wheel of the good stuff.
Looks like the mortician is rather...
Ooh! What could Mayor Cecil, Captain Aureus, or Evelyn have to do with it?
Sir, you're under arrest for complicity in the murder of Councillor Jake. Please follow me.
What? That's insane. I would never.
Sir, please come quietly, or I'll have to forcefully subdue you.
Fine, fine. There's no need for that. But you must know I am an innocent man.